Hello, welcome to King Info. Today we are going to review Vietnam tunnels. Since the invention of gunpowder, military engineers have been digging tunnels under besieged castles and then exploding large charges to bring down the walls and create gaps that could be stormed by the infantry. In fact, the term sapper means one who digs trenches, and a sap is a narrow trench used to undermine a fortification. In WWI, both sides founded specialist engineer tunneling companies as a means of attacking enemy trenches without the carnage of going over the top into the teeth of enemy machine gun fire. One highly recommended but harrowing film on this means of warfare is Beneath Hill 60, based on the diaries of Captain Oliver Woodward. The development of the tunnel systems in Vietnam. When the Vietnamese began developing an underground tunnel network is uncertain, but the first tunnels appear to have begun during the Japanese occupation of Vietnam in WWII from 1942 to 1945. When the French War began in 1946, the use of tunnels by the Viet Minh expanded greatly. The French were well aware of their existence and formed their own specialist units to search and destroy those found. Many of the original tunnels were built by the Viet Minh simply as escape routes or as hiding places when the French came to a village. Other tunnels were built by villagers for rice storage, as both sides tended to forage for food when in the field, leaving the villagers to starve. However, in the early 1960s, the arrival to Vietnam of the U.S. Army with its ability to quickly deploy enormous firepower changed the face of war for the North Vietnamese Army and Viet Cong. If a large formation could be detected on the surface, in the jungle, or in the open, then it could be destroyed by the employment of massive aerial bombing or an artillery strike. Invisibility became essential, so tunneling became a necessity. What may have begun as a useful protective defensive measure soon grew into an integral part of their aggressive war machine, with these underground bases becoming the holding and staging points for large-scale attacking operations. The sophistication of this subterranean military camp grew to include soldiers' barracks, cooking amenities, living and training rooms, hospitals, workshops, and storage facilities. These would be connected by a series of tunnels that included escape hatches and even hidden fighting pits for sentries and snipers. At regular distances in longer tunnels, there would be passing places for travelers going in opposite directions. One of the constant difficulties was ensuring there was always sufficient breathable air, so at various points concealed ventilation shafts would be driven through 10 to 12 meters of earth to the surface. To further add to their ability to discourage intruders from entering their tunnels and underground facilities, they could be booby-trapped when not occupied, a sort of macabre home burglar alarm that could be switched off when the occupants returned. Some dead-end side tunnels would be permanently booby-trapped to kill the unwary sapper who carelessly entered them. As a further defensive measure to prevent gas or smoke pumped in from penetrating the whole system and asphyxiating the occupants, a sump could be installed that would prevent the gas from passing that point. As a final deterrence, a defender could quietly wait in ambush, as he would know the twists and turns of the labyrinth perfectly, whereas the approaching Australian sapper would have no idea what lay ahead or was waiting for him around the next corner, as his would be a journey of exploration in the darkness of unmapped hostile territory. The Australian tunnel rats were the men who served in the engineer field troops in Vietnam. Apart from those few lucky enough to come across extensive enemy tunnel complexes to explore and clear, every member of the field troops took their turn underground to search, clear, and destroy enemy bunker systems. It was not unusual for the sappers to blow up over 100 enemy bunkers in a single operation.